Niklsun here, and welcome to Coming Soon Movie News with Niklsun. I'm your host, and on this show, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we'll be going over all of the day's movie news, as well as going over what it means for the production in general, such as casting decisions, trailer announcements, director announcements, things like that. So, without any further ado, let's get started with today's Hot Topics. We have our first official trailer for the upcoming Terminator Genisys, which is bringing back Arnold Schwarzenegger, but surrounding him with a bunch of new actors for the specific roles. Now, again, coming back to the Jurassic World trailer and the Star Wars Force Awakens trailer and a couple of other trailers that have come out recently, there's been a lot of backlash, and I personally think that it's because either A, people are just not wanting this movie to succeed, and so therefore, even if it does look cool in their mind, they say, well, it's not like the original, so it's going to suck. Or their expectations are just too high for the project, and the images that they see just are underwhelming to them. This trailer, to me, seems like it's the former. Seems like there's a lot of people who immediately just want to hate this movie, and when they watch the trailer, they say, well, that looks like garbage. Because to me, personally, this movie looks like a lot of fun. And that, at the end of the day, when it comes to action films, when it comes to most types of movies, whether it be comedies, action films, sci-fi, fantasy, any of those movies, their main goal is to entertain you. You are supposed to be entertained. You do not need to criticize. Granted, people do. I am a victim of this as well. I am one of the proponents of this. But you do not need to criticize every single aspect of a movie just because it is either not scientifically accurate or defies the laws of physics or whatever the case may be. There are a lot of elements in this trailer that make it look like it's going to be a fun movie. We get to see further explored the time machine. We've never really seen that in a movie. We've seen it in the video games, but we've never really seen it in the movies. And so we get to see that further explored. They're touching back on, just like what they said previously, they're touching back on elements from the first couple of movies. And you can see that with Kyle Reese going into the department store. That almost looks like it's shot for shot, but updated, a little bit more modern. And then you have Sarah Connor breaking in, and that's where everything just turns and takes a twist. And you see that Sarah Connor is actually this badass character who has already become this because she was raised by a Terminator. That is my other negative, or my negative of the trailer, is just, how are they going to explain that? Like, how are they going to explain who sent back the Terminator? Was it somebody... was it John Connor who sent it back to when he was a kid? Because if he did, why would he be sending Kyle Reese? There's that element of it, which I'm a little confused about. And as long as they explain that properly, then I'll be okay with most of the other stuff in the trailer. But there were certain elements that I've been hearing a lot of negativity about that really won me over. The biggest one to me was the Arnold torpedo at the end. When he jumps out of the helicopter, he didn't need to say the line, "I'll be back," obviously, but when he jumps out of the helicopter and becomes basically a torpedo or a missile and launches himself into the other helicopter, I thought that was incredible. That was cool. That's what I want to see. I want to see high-octane action with really cool sci-fi elements. That's what I want from a Terminator franchise. Yes, James Cameron did bring us the best of this franchise, but let's face facts, okay? This is going to happen. This is a franchise that is going to continue. Much like Jurassic World, that is a franchise that is going to continue. Whether or not it takes, 10 years after this one, if this movie bombs, they'll wait like 5 or 10 years and then they'll do another one. But this is a type of franchise where, regardless of your feelings of it, we're going to get another one. So if you think about it in those terms, thinking about, okay, if they were to do another one, regardless if you want them to, if they were to do one, this, to me, is a logical next step. Again, we don't know a whole lot about the movie, but this is still staying within the Terminator universe, yet bringing us something fresh and something new and a new twist on it. And I do admire that. I do like that. Now, again, the movie could end up sucking. It could end up being terrible. But the elements are all there for it to be cool, for it to be fun. That's one thing that the reason that Terminator Salvation failed, and there were a couple of reasons, but one of the biggest ones was when they signed on Christian Bale. Not to knock on Christian Bale as an actor, because he's a phenomenal actor, but the original story of Terminator Salvation was going to focus on the Marcus character. John Connor was going to be a very small role. I think he had maybe 1 or 2 scenes. He was only going to be in the movie for like 15 minutes. When they went to Christian Bale, he said, "I'll do it if you make him a main character." So then they had to rewrite the script, and they had to take a lot of the elements of Marcus's character out and put in new sequences with John Connor. And that's why when you watch the movie, it feels like not only is there not enough development on any of the characters, but it feels like there's 2 movies in there. And that's because it's true. There was one movie, they had to splice that up and surgically remove a lot of sections of that movie and add in all these needless points about John Connor. They didn't need those elements in the movie, but they felt that, you know what, we want to get Christian Bale, these are his demands, this is what's going to happen. Luckily, we don't have anybody like that on this new film. The only one who would have something like that would be Arnold Schwarzenegger, because you got Emilia Clarke, who's Daenerys Stormborn on Game of Thrones. You have Jai Courtney, who, outside of Spartacus, he hasn't really had a lot of time to shine in the movies, but he hasn't been really given a lot of roles that have been a lot of films where he's had those elements to shine. I really liked him in Jack Reacher. I thought he was really good in that. Even though the movie as a whole was really just, over the top and all that kind of stuff, but I liked I, Frankenstein, and I did kind of like his role in it, even though he was overacting, he was over the top, but that's what the role called for. That's what that movie called for. And sometimes we have to separate that. We have to separate the quality of the acting job in the movie as opposed to what the overall feel of the film and the directors and studios' requests of that actor were. And saying, you know what, we know that you're a great actor, but we need you to do this. And sometimes they do it. Look at Al Pacino. Al Pacino does that all the time. Robert De Niro, another example. One where the directors will choose, like, you want an example of that? Watch Robert De Niro on Rocky and Bullwinkle. If you want an example of having an actor of unbelievable caliber, almost nobody can match him, and doing an absolutely god-awful performance, that's the one that just popped into my head, but I'm sure there are others out there, and in the comment section, if you want guys put in an idea of who you think is a great actor but has done just an absolutely terrible, terrible, terrible performance, please put it in the comment section. I'd love to start a discussion about that. But everything about it just looks cool. Like it looks like it's got a lot of places to go. It looks like it's got a story that it's trying to tell. And picking apart the trailer, it looks as though almost that they are going to be jumping through different points in time. The only reason that I say that is because the sequence at the bridge at the end, all the vehicles that are around it when the bus is flipping are modern cars. Yet he goes back to 1984 in the movie when they stop the original. Oh, I got to talk about that too. The sequence when she says, "Oh yeah, you know you were sent back here to save me from the Terminator that was sent back in 1984. Yeah, we took care of him." Well, what do you mean, we? And that's when you see this shadowy figure walking out, and then he pulls the hood down, and it's older Arnold, and he's, "I've been waiting for you." And that was a terrible Arnold impersonation. And then he just blows him away. Now, another thing, a lot of people have been criticizing the CGI of the young Arnold, and to me, I don't know if it was just the quality of him himself. It didn't even look like CGI. It looked like they had actually taken the shot from the 1984 version and had implemented it into their footage. Because it had almost that little pixelation. It had that little distortion to it that film usually gives. So I don't know if that was CGI or not. I didn't have a problem with it. It stood out to me like it was cropped. Not that it was CGI, that it was cropped from the original 1984 footage. So, but that's just my thoughts on it. Yeah, again, they have a lot of time to fix the CGI. They really do. I don't believe that it is going to be photorealistic, and I don't think that it needs to be. Again, I'm going to get more into this in the last part of this video here, but there are certain elements of movies that do not need to be photorealistic, and certain genres and certain elements of movies that just don't need to be. This franchise, I do believe, is one that should strive for that, absolutely, but it doesn't need to be, especially in this day and age when there's so much CGI that is put into movies. Not even just the visual stuff, the stuff that you can actually tell is CGI. The little things that they put in there to fix little problems. Maybe there's a street light that they want removed, and so they need to remove that, or they need to fix the way that a tree is moving in the wind, or something of that sort. They do a whole bunch of stuff like that to fix and just adjust little things in the movie. So they got plenty of time to do that. Genisys opens up on July 1st, 2015. But if we do get more information about this topic, I will definitely update you guys on here. The producers of Bond 24 held a press conference yesterday morning to unveil not only the official title of Bond 24, but also the official cast. And the title is none other than S.P.E.C.T.R.E, which is the organization that's haunted Bond for a while, controlled by none other than Ernest Blofeld. Now, when the casting was officially announced, they said obviously Daniel Craig, Naomi Harris, Ben Whishaw, Ralph Fiennes are all reprising their roles. But they'll be joined by Christoph Waltz as Oberhauser. Now, there's a lot of people out there who are thinking that this is just his kind of code name, but he actually will turn out to be Blofeld in the movie. And I can see that happening. It's all going to wait until we see what he looks like. If he actually is going to be bald, he's going to have the scar, you know, kind of Dr. Evil looking. Main thing is if they show one picture and he's got a cat, it's done. But yeah, he is playing Oberhauser, who is the head of S.P.E.C.T.R.E. Dave Bautista, who played Drax the Destroyer in Guardians of the Galaxy, is officially cast as Mr. Hinks, who is a henchman of Oberhauser in the vein of Jaws and Odd Job. Leah Seydoux is playing Madeline Swan, who will reportedly be a femme fatale, so think like Xenia on a top. So she'll be somebody who will most likely be a villain. She'll probably be a very similar character that she played in Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, although she'll probably talk a little bit more. But one of the biggest surprises to me and the things that I'm most excited about was Andrew Scott being cast as Denby, who is he's another possible villain. They didn't really talk too much about his role, but he is fantastic as Moriarty on the BBC show Sherlock. He is just mesmerizing. He's small in stature. He's got a slightly higher pitched voice, but my God, does he play crazy. Like, he plays egotistical. He plays in control. But, I mean, I'm really excited to see him go up against Bond. I want to see him be a villain. I hope that he's a villain. They'll circumvent expectations and he'll be a good guy, almost guaranteed. But I want to see him be a big presence villain. You know, be maybe one of the arms of S.P.E.C.T.R.E. You know, maybe he's the official head of Quantum. We haven't even fully come back into Quantum and dealt with that company yet. So maybe that'll be one of the sections of S.P.E.C.T.R.E. and he'll be the leader of that. That would be really cool. Maybe even developing him for a future villain. That, like, there's a lot of possibilities. And then, of course, Monica Bellucci, cast as Lucia Sciarra, most likely is the new Bond girl. And it's about damn time that Monica Bellucci has been a Bond girl. I mean, how have they gone this long and not had her be a Bond girl? I really cannot understand that. There are certain actresses out there, like Terry Hatcher was a friggin' Bond girl before Monica Bellucci. Now, that was around the time that Monica Bellucci would have been perfect for a Bond girl. But still, this is the official log line that they unveiled at the event. So it's a cryptic message from Bond's past sends him on a trail to uncover a sinister organization, while M battles political forces to keep the Secret Service alive. Bond peels back the layers of deceit to reveal the terrible truth behind S.P.E.C.T.R.E. Now, judging from that, it almost sounds as though that S.P.E.C.T.R.E. will have infiltrated MI6, that they will... that there will be some double agents involved in this movie, not just 00 agents. But there's going to be a lot of deceit, a lot of espionage, a lot more spy thriller. This definitely is continuing on the story and mood and method that they created with Skyfall. And they said from day one that this is going to be a direct continuation of that feel, that storyline. So I like where they're going with it. I love the car, the Aston Martin DB10. That car was just, it's beautiful. I mean, it's a beautiful looking car, but I haven't really noticed a visual distinction between this and the Vanquish that was shown in Die Another Day. Now, there's probably some subtle ones, but they look so similar that to me, it's, why are you getting him a new car? Because it's the same as the last one. It might have a few new gadgets on the inside, but the outside looks the exact same. It still looks gorgeous, don't get me wrong, but I don't see the big deal about showing off the car when it's not really any different than anything that we've seen in the past. So I would love for Aston Martin to come out with a wholly new design. Again, the car looks absolutely beautiful, and if somebody was to walk up to me and say, here you go, I would probably, you know, hug them, kiss them, do whatever I could to make sure that I kept that car, because it is gorgeous. But looking back on the vehicles that Bond has had, with the exception of Skyfall, because Skyfall, they went back to the, you know, like the 1960s version. But it still looked really cool, but I would just wish that it was an updated design, had some new features to it, not new gadgets, and that's not what I mean by features. I mean, the visual aesthetics of the car should have been changed a little bit. But again, that's just me. That's just my opinion. When I looked at it, I just went, oh, okay, you know, same as what it's been the last couple of times. So I'm really excited to see how this is going to explore further the Bond mythos. Because this is the second last movie so far that Daniel Craig has left on his contract. He signed up for 5. This is his 4th movie. So he's going to have one movie after this, unless he re-signs, but I doubt that he's going to re-sign. I'm just really curious to see what this is all going to do. I think Dave Bautista is going to do a magnificent job as a henchman. I think he's going to be a physical opponent of James Bond. I think that's going to be a really interesting fight sequence. Christoph Waltz is going to be such an intelligent villain. He's going to be such a masterful, not espionage. What's the word I'm trying to find? He's going to be masterful at being able to get inside Bond's head, and I really think that's going to be the focus of this movie. Is that the villain is really going to get inside Bond's head. He's not going to be a formidable villain in terms of physical wise. That's why we have Dave Bautista. But I really think that he's going to get inside his head and really screw with him. And I think that's going to be really fantastic. So I'm really excited about it. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Whether you think S.P.E.C.T.R.E was the right title, if you think it was just kind of bland, because I know there are people out there that didn't really care for the title. But I really like the logo, the bullet, hitting the glass and the striations coming down and matching the original symbol of S.P.E.C.T.R. I think that was really cool with the octopus tentacles. So I'm on board for it. I'm really excited for it. Bond has never really disappointed. Even people out there who didn't really care for Quantum of Solace all that much, I still, I enjoyed it. It wasn't really a Bond movie to me. It was a really cool action film, but it wasn't really a Bond film to me. And I don't think that this is going to fall into that trap, because Sam Mendes is coming back to direct. He's the guy who did Skyfall, so it's got a lot going for it. I'm really excited for it. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. As it stands right now, S.P.E.C.T.R.E will be opening up in the US and Canada on November 6th, 2015. It will be opening up about a week or two earlier in the UK. But if we do get more information about this topic, I will definitely update you guys on here. In a surprise everybody saw coming, it looks as though both Ryan Reynolds and Benedict Cumberbatch have both officially signed on to play Deadpool and Doctor Strange, respectively. This is probably the worst kept secret in all of Hollywood. I don't think it was even ever kept really a secret that Ryan Reynolds was going to be coming back as Deadpool. He's been very vocal about that, even before the test footage came out. And even after the test footage came out, he gave interviews about it and all this stuff, but it looks as though he signed on to the project, so we're greenlit for that, which is good. We know that he's coming back. The only thing that's still kind of up in the air is whether or not the movie's going to be PG-13 or R. I have a feeling more than likely it's going to be PG-13 with a unrated Blu-ray edition or unrated video-on-demand version that'll come out around the home video release. And I think that financially, that's the right way to go, because you're going to get the widest accessible audience to see it in theaters to get the most amount of money. And then on Blu-ray, you can even have it be where, if they bleep it out, which a lot of people have out there have suggested that they could do, and then he complains about that throughout the movie. If on the unrated version, if he goes to swear and there's no beep and he goes, "Oh, finally, that thing's gone," and then just starts cursing, just like does like 10 in a row, where he's just like, "Ah," and then it continues on with the rest of the movie with the bleeps. I think that could work really well. So yeah, we got Ryan Reynolds confirmed on there, but Benedict Cumberbatch is official as Doctor Strange. The contract is signed. Now, fun story, if you guys check out the Facebook page, I posted back in July that Benedict Cumberbatch was going to be Doctor Strange. I had heard from a couple of sources that he was the one, but at the time, the original release date was July of 2016, and the filming schedule of that movie would have coincided with his play of Hamlet that he's doing in the UK. So he wasn't able to do it. But because now the movie is in November, they're pushing back the filming of the movie by a couple of months, which is allowing him to do both. So he's allowed to do the Hamlet play and still be able to do Doctor Strange. So I was really shocked that that officially was confirmed, because I had that months ago. I had that back in July. But I personally think he's the best choice for the role. He is the best choice. There are other actors out there who would have done a fantastic job, and I was even really starting to warm up to Joaquin Phoenix before that plug got pulled. But I think personally that he is a fantastic choice. I think he's going to blend well with the other members in the Avengers roster. I also personally think that Doctor Strange is going to be, like, Doctor Strange, Black Panther, and Captain Marvel are going to become like the three mainstays of the Avengers after Phase 3. They're going to be the leaders, and I think Doctor Strange is going to be the one to control it. Black Panther, either him or Black Panther, but both of those two are going to be the Captain America and Iron Man of the new Avengers roster, and I'm almost guaranteeing that. I obviously don't have any inside information about it, but that's my thought process where I think that it's going. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about the casting, whether or not you think it's good, whether or not you think it's bad, your reasons behind that. And whether or not you think that, you know, Doctor Strange could actually function as the Iron Man of the new Avengers roster, where he could be the leader. He could have that, because he's very arrogant, you know, and pitch perfect casting with Benedict Cumberbatch, because if you watch Sherlock, you've seen Doctor Strange. I mean, that's going to be a very similar version of the character. But he's a cynic, he is arrogant, he is egotistical. That right there is Benedict Cumberbatch. At least the characters that he plays. Benedict Cumberbatch, from what I've been told, is one of the nicest people on the planet. But as it stands right now, both people are confirmed to star in their respective movies. Deadpool, as it stands right now, will be opening up on February 12th, 2016, followed up by Doctor Strange, which will be opening up on November 4th, 2016. Both movies are expected to go into production very soon. I think Deadpool is scheduled to start filming in March, and Doctor Strange is scheduled to start filming sometime around September, I believe, of this year is when they're going to start rolling cameras on that. So when we do get more information about this movie, I will definitely update you guys on here. Now we're on to our user-submitted questions section of the show. And a reminder, anybody out there who has a topic or a question you'd like to have discussed on the show, go ahead and put a comment in the comment section, or you can email us at movienewswithniklsun, Niklsun, @gmail.com. And on every Friday episode, we'll try to get to as many as we can. This question comes, well, it's not really a question, it's more of a comment. And it comes from Around the Clock. And Around the Clock says that I'm surprised that you enjoyed the trailer for Jurassic World. I thought you would have picked apart the CGI like so many others had. Now, granted, I have done that in the past, and I was even talking about that earlier with the Terminator trailer. But this is something that I wanted to bring up, and this is the reason why I chose this one, because this is just my personal thought point on this. Let me know if you guys think differently. But when it comes to certain franchises, certain genres, you know, anything of that sort, depending on the particular film, I will have certain expectations of that movie. But I will also give it some leeway because of how fond I am, for the nostalgic value. So taking Jurassic World as an example. First off, Colin Trevorrow has already come out and talked about the shot with the gate, when the gate opening. That gate is practical, but it was inserted into a manufactured shot. That shot was made for the trailer. That is not going to be featured in the movie. So, talking about unfinished CGI, where I can understand, yes, like the scene where the Mosasaurus comes out of the water, I didn't care that the CGI didn't look finished. Because the monster itself looked cool. It needed one more layer of texture to be on there to make it look photorealistic. The biggest complaint with that sequence to me was the water, because the water didn't look very realistic when it splashed down. But I was in so much awe of seeing that, because ever since I saw Jurassic Park 1, when they said they were doing number 2 and number 3, I wanted to see water dinosaurs. I wanted to see aquatic dinosaurs. And now we finally got to see one. And the sequence that they did it in, where they were feeding it the most vicious aquatic predator that the world has right now, and that was like a minnow to it, I was in awe, and I was just stunned, because I didn't care what the CGI looked like, because it looked, for the most part, it looked real, or it looked realistic, I should say, but I was more surprised by how fascinating it looked, by the way that it was presented. And to me, it worked, regardless of the quality of the CGI. But like I said with the Terminator trailer, there's still several months away from the movie coming out. There were a lot of shots in that trailer, I guarantee, that didn't even have special effects inserted in them yet. Like, that's the same thing with the Star Wars Episode 7 trailer. I guarantee that a lot of those shots weren't finished. They were just because they had just finished filming like a couple of weeks before they released that trailer. But this is what I wanted to talk about trailers having specifically created imagery just for the advertisements. Two culprits this year were, the main one was Godzilla, but there was also Amazing Spider-Man 2. Now, whether or not those shots in Amazing Spider-Man 2 were created for the trailer and then just never used, or if they were in sequences that at the time were in the movie and then were cut afterwards, that's a different story. But still, the parts in the trailer that they really emphasized and they kept reusing in different trailers were the sequences between Harry and Peter in Harry's office talking about Oscorp's had you under surveillance, you know, and he goes, well, why? And he's like, well, isn't that the question of the day? You know, that scene was nowhere in the movie, and I don't even see, after watching the movie, I don't see where it could have fit. But in Godzilla, there were two shots that stood out to me, and there might have been more, but these were the two shots that stood out to me. The first one was in the first trailer, when you see them, after they jump out of the plane, excuse me, I just had a frog in my throat. After they jump out the plane, once they come through the clouds and you can see the city and you can see the skyline, as they're looking around, you just all of a sudden you see when the lightning flashes, you see his spikes on his back. And he's just slowly walking through the city. When you see the movie, that same exact shot is him fighting another monster. So they manufactured that shot. And it wasn't that it just wasn't finished. They had to create his body movement. They had to render his body movement and then completely delete that to put the actual shot in. So he was fighting a monster in the same shot. The second shot was in the second trailer at the very end when the doors of that bunker were closing and you saw him coming at the screen and he was just roaring. In the actual movie, that same exact shot was Godzilla fighting another monster. So they will manufacture shots for certain trailers. And they will do that either to hide something that's going to be coming up later on in the movie, or they will do it because it fits within that trailer. You know, and they will also show unfinished effects, not necessarily that you can notice them, not you know, leaked X-Men Origins Wolverine style unfinished effects. But they will have effects that will come in. Like, look at the first trailer for Green Lantern. I know the movie at the end of the day wasn't a great example, but look at the first trailer that was released for Green Lantern. And then look at the second trailer that was released for Green Lantern. Because there is a noticeable difference in the quality of the suit. The color aspect was reduced. They improved the energy moving through it. The fact that you could see all the little lines moving through his suit. They touched it up. They went in and they added more sections to the suit. They added more texture to the suit. They did that because they had more time to work on it. We're still so far out from these movies. Like Jurassic World comes out in June, so we're 7 months away. Terminator opens up in July, so we're 8 months away right now. They have more than enough time to get these CGI effects right. But the main thing is that there are a lot of trailers out there that have shots that are specifically manufactured just for the trailer. They are not meant to be seen outside of that trailer. I even remember watching, do you remember the movie Pitch Black? It was one of Vin Diesel's first big movies that he did. I was watching that movie with the director's commentary on. And David Twohy, who directed the movie, in the shot where it's revealed that they're going to go into a lunar eclipse or a solar eclipse, and it's going to continue forever, they cut to Vin Diesel, and he says, "You're not afraid of the dark, are you?" And that was used in the trailer. In the commentary, David Twohy even said the only reason that line and that shot is in the movie was because they wrote it and shot it for the trailer. And they knew that people would be a little bit upset if that was not included in the movie. But that was specifically created to be used in the trailer. And that was it. That was its sole purpose. They put it in the movie to make sure that people didn't hate on them for not including it. But it served no purpose at all. It was a cool line. But the director of the movie even says it was done just for the trailer. Colin Trevorrow came out and said that the shot with the gate was manufactured for the trailer. The shot in the movie will look very different. So that is why I didn't pick apart the CGI, because to me, it didn't matter because I was in awe of what I was seeing. I thought that it did its job well. It did everything it needed to do. It hit every point that it needed to hit, at least for me. Again, this is my opinion on it. This is just my opinion. If you guys feel differently, that's amazing. You guys I want to hear your guys' opinions on it, whether or not you liked it, what parts you thought that didn't work out very well in them, other trailers that you can think of that have done the same things. You know, I mean, one of the biggest ones is, in recent memory at least, is Mummy Returns with The Rock at the end. you know, they weren't given enough time. It was either they weren't given enough time or they were over ambitious for what they tried to do in the time they were given. But they didn't have time to finish the CGI. They didn't have time to put the texture mapping on the Rock at the end when he was a giant scorpion, so it looked like it was graphics from a PlayStation 2 cutscene. We're not going to get that. We're not going to get that at all. But it's just that the fact that the CGI isn't done yet. It's just not done. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, whether or not you think that they should not release any footage in trailers unless it's a finished CGI shot or mostly finished, unless they're going to do a few little touch-ups to it. You know, anything like that, whether or not it's right to put in... I just thought of a shot too. Oh, and I can't remember. I will put it in the comment section or in the description of this video when I do think about it, but there was another shot in a trailer that I remember where they didn't include any CGI in it, and then when you watch the movie, you're like, oh my god, okay, that's completely different. So yeah, I will throw that in the comment section once I end up thinking about it, but let me know what you guys think as well. Let me know any ideas you guys have, any topics or any questions or anything of that sort you guys have, anything at all. Drop a comment in the comment section, and every Friday episode we'll try to get to as many as we can. But if we do get more information about, you know, this finished CGI on Jurassic World or Godzilla, or not Godzilla 2, I should say, or Terminator Genisys or anything of that sort, I will definitely update you guys on here. Well, that'll about do it for us here on Coming Soon Movie News with Niklsun. Thank you so much for watching. You guys have been a great audience. Why don't you go ahead and click the subscribe button there in the bottom corner. You can get updates whenever we post a new video. You can also follow me on Twitter at Niklsun, Niklsun, for all of your movie updates. And you can also give us a like on our Facebook page at facebook.com/movie news with Niklsun. Because, like I said earlier, if you have any topics or questions you'd like to have discussed on the show, go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section or email us at movienewswithniklsun, Niklsun, @gmail.com, and we'll try to get to as many on every Friday episode as we can. But until next time, you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.